So I'm back, and today I'm doing Mike Pompeo, the director of the CIA under President Trump. A couple of people contacted me about doing a reading on him, and there was some news, I think a couple of days ago, that sounded really disturbing, and so that was not the basic reason why I think a lot of people suddenly were thinking of him. And of course, the fact that he's the director of the CIA is a very big deal because it's a very strategic position. And if we look at the State Department and what this administration has done, they're trying to essentially weaken the U.S. position in the world. And having a compromised CIA director is kind of a weird thing, right? It's kind of not a weird thing, a terrible thing. And the other thing I've noticed lately is that a lot of former CIA directors have been going on TV to talk about it, right? They look very old. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being old, but what I'm saying is that they could be enjoying retirement, but instead they seem to be working diligently to address the Russia meddling issue. I noticed this, I don't want to say randomly, but it was just something that caught my eye, that several of them have been on television, and I believe they're probably trying to send us some sort of sign. They can't say everything they know, of course, but it's I don't think it's a coincidence because I don't remember. It's not. I don't remember watching TV or political news shows as much as I do now, but I don't remember seeing quite as many people on TV discussing this issue. Okay. Anyway, so by the way, before I get started on the reading itself, I wanted to let you know that I've put together basically a blog. It's a website, but it just has links for all the readings I've done so far, and it has the to-do list, basically the list of next readings I'm planning to do. And if you have any suggestions, just let me know. I'm open to suggestions and so forth. Send me a message. I have to return some of your messages that I haven't had a chance to, but I appreciate the fact that you write and that you leave nice comments. Okay, all right. It's funny. I was going to not do a reading today. I have to be somewhere, and I'm not going to be late, but I'm almost. But not doing a reading before I left would be very strange. It's almost like I feel like something important. I need to do this, basically. It's just one of those things that you feel like it's on my mind all day, and I have to do it. It's like I have this anxiety about it, and anyway, so let's get started with the reading. Okay, so it's funny, Okay, I'm just have some tea. I feel like you never know what's going to come up. I didn't know a lot about him. I know he looks he looks weird to me. I don't know. It just has a kind of I have a feeling. He doesn't inspire confidence in me, of course, because he's a political appointee, and the CIA has always been a non-political, state agency, and so just looking at him, there's something. I feel like he's the loyalist type. He looks like he's the friend of what he'll do whatever the president asks him to do, which is a problem. And it's funny, I thought of a bear, and this is the first. I'll show you the first card. So here's the first card: is a person who is charismatic, who is good with people, and it's charismatic, good with people, leadership. I believe that's him. And this is bear, which means both money and the boss. So he's the boss. Okay, this is him. And right underneath him, our friend, the card, the scythe, which is the card of cuts. Okay, and it's, well, I don't think it could be any more direct than this. The man who's the boss, charismatic boss, and has leadership, is going to be cut. And it's interesting that this card shows up, which it showed up in a reading yesterday when I talked about public anger. So I feel like in anger, he will be cut. It's one of the sense of swiftness in a lot of these readings, something I'm getting, not just because of this card, but this also is another sword. You see, it's a sword. So it's interesting that another person who is either going to be cut now, because this is the present position, okay? Or, I don't know, just anyway, it's fascinating. But so this is the center of the reading, okay? And then we have here, I'll get started with the background column of meanings. And here we have the group with apathy, a sense of malaise, and I don't want to say sadness, but joylessness, right? Because this is a card of joy, public gatherings, and this is, I would say, joylessness. The sun. So the sun, I want to see what's coming after this. And it's interesting, the card of overspending, living beyond your means, and problems. So what I'm getting, I don't know if this is accurate at all, but what I'm getting is that there's a situation of apathy and joylessness, and there's financial problems with overspending, because the clouds card is a card, obviously clouds obscure, but they also have a meaning, kind of a simple meaning of saying it's a problem, like some problem. So I believe it's a problem with overspending, or because the sun is here, it's basically also relating to the sense of bringing light into something. So there's something that wasn't discussed, which is this person has some sort of financial problems, personal financial problems. That's what I'm thinking. Although because there's a group, it's possible that the group in which this person was involved also had financial problems due to overspending, sort of probably credit card debt, something like that. Okay, and then we have the second row, which is a sudden cut. This is usually a very good card. It's like, okay, so something happens, something comes up, the new opportunity, okay? And the lilies I see here is the older man, which could be the president. And then here we have death reversed, which means a person averting an ending, knowing that things are coming to an end, but not pretending that the end isn't coming, okay? Something came to my mind that it sounds so mean to say something like this, but I thought, oh, it's the person who stays behind in the event of a hurricane. It's horrible. I'm sorry to say, it's not a joke, but that's what I thought. Okay, and this is the card of guilt, right, that I've said before, burden, essentially guilt. So the combination of this is interesting because it tells me that two things. First thing, when I saw just these two cards, I thought, oh, this person was in some sort of trouble. And suddenly the president came along and he saw it as an opportunity. But then when I put this two together, the situation changes completely, and it feels as though the older man, the situation with the older man is coming to an end. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows he's guilty, and they're pretending it's not going to happen. Okay, because I feel like this is really the full meaning of this column, okay? So we have the man who is a leadership person going to be cut swiftly. It started out with apathy, joylessness, and some problems with overspending and living above his means, okay? And then we have this very kind of like, it gives me a feeling, kind of a bad feeling about this. Right next to the man, the center of the reading is this, okay? So it's a messenger. So this is a situation where the person is leaving a very hard financial problem. So a person who was poor for a long time, and certainly that moment is going to end, okay? And there's a messenger, okay? And underneath that, we have an opportunity from what we have seen to be Russia. So it paints the very uncomfortable picture that this person was in a difficult situation, had overspent, had debts, and then suddenly there's a message, there's news from Russia, and they give him an opportunity. Okay, this is what I'm getting. This is, to me, it's not necessarily the president, but really the Russia thing, okay? And then we have a deal, or like a friendly relationship, or a relationship of some kind, and a gift. Again, a gift is an invitation. Okay, it could be an invitation for a new job. It could be money. Okay. And this is unease. and restlessness, okay, and government. So what I'm feeling here is that putting these two together, we have, so I'm looking at the clock because I have to go in 15 minutes, but I think there's enough time to do the reading. Okay, so we have here the friendly relationship, the gift, and unease and restlessness in the government, okay? So what I feel is that, and I feel this pretty strongly, that this is the CIA, okay? This is the people in the government who don't connect with Trump, right? Who are quote unquote the deep state, in other words, everybody who is not corrupt. So this, I feel like this organization is very anxious and very nervous about the situation, okay? And because, and this is, okay. No, this is like this, okay? And this is a offer, Russian offer and restlessness in the government, okay? So it shows that there is an influence of Russia in the government somehow, okay? And that this, the messenger, in a way, if I read this, it's like, oh, put an alarm. So anyway, so I look at this and I think an offer to get out of poverty, okay, and a gift that solves this problem. And the offer comes from oh, and I'm like, see, because it's echoed here. This is these cards, the positions are here. So this is an offer. If you look at this card, offer and offer twice, and friendliness, and so that's what's telling me, okay, and yeah, and the mess. See, the other things that concerns me is that this card is new, and it's also it means news, and it also means messenger. So at the same time that he could be receiving like a visitation or news from Russia, he could also act as a messenger, which is very troubling considering his position. But at the same time, we have this very clear, to me anyway, reading that shows that it's funny, sometimes the words come in my brain and it's like I kind of want to censor them, but I have to let them out. But the word was compromised. We know he's compromised, so that's what came out. So basically, what it's showing me is that the scythe and the cross and the death, it shows me that he's gone. Basically, he has to leave, but that he's definitely, I don't see honestly any doubts that he's compromised, and that his reason for doing this was that he was in some sort of financial problem, or like debts that were different from the debts, quid pro quo debts, but that in his personal life, he needed money for something. I don't know what it was, or he must have overspent money. I don't know what it was, but this was a convenient opportunity for him, okay? And I'll show you, and we'll talk more about what the reading says in other ways, okay? So when I first did the reading, when I was thinking about the reading, I thought, I don't really know if he's going to participate. He hasn't been indicted, so I just didn't want to kind of create the storyline in the same way that I've done for the others, but I laid out the spread the same way. But then, because before I would say, okay, this is what Mueller says in his response and the final story, it's still there. But it's funny that I didn't consciously ask to have that be. I wasn't seeing Mueller and the Mueller I asked when I was shuffling the cards. I thought Mueller investigation and so forth. When I laid them out, I didn't know, because again, he hasn't been named, or there's nothing concrete. Okay, but what I'm seeing is that even though I didn't picture him necessarily in a courtroom or anything, it's so clear. It's one of those readings where you just have no doubt. Okay. And it confirms what was said before. Here's the house in disarray. It's been coming up a lot. It's the card of the country upside down. Expansion, right? So expansion of the country upside down. So Empress means abundance, wealth, beauty. And in the context of the reading and in the context of this card too, I think it means, okay, I'll show you what it is. So this is reputation. So if the reputation before was beauty, abundance, and so forth, it's upside down. See all the cards, the country is upside down and the reputation, right? The form of the reputation is upside down too. So it's like he's expanding a negative reputation. He's creating this negative reputation, right? And then this is a card of defeat, the ungodly, the incorrect defeat or the wrong defeat or the unnatural defeat of the White House. So this is telling me, I think, very clearly that his job, and somehow this is, and again, it's one of the situations, guys, where I don't want you to be scared because I have a very, in a way, even though the reading says horrible things, I have a very good feeling about this, that the situation has been contained, okay? Or that he will leave soon or that something like that. But this tells me very clearly that he knows exactly what he's doing or what his job is. Okay, he knows that his job, like if I look at the Lenormand cards, it says expanding the reputation of the White House. But if you look at the cards underneath, what does it mean to expand the reputation of the White House? It means to turn the country upside down. It means that his reputation is impoverished and no longer as beautiful as it once was. It also means that this White House was gained through a kind of unlawful form of defeat. Okay? All right. So this second row, and I thought, it's funny, I thought to myself, do I think he's stalking to Mueller? Do I feel, is there anything telling me about this? And I feel like, no. For some reason, I just feel no, because it does. I don't see the card of, I don't see any cards of regret. I don't see any cards of, I don't see the deal cards. I see the deal card not for Mueller. I just see, and I feel that this is, okay, I'll show you card by card in the second row and talk about it, okay? It's a person having a hard time making a decision, and the process of making decisions and talk. This is a strange or kind of this is never a negative card, but in the context, I think it is, just because if you look at what intelligence does, it monitors conversations, okay? So a lot of it is about that. The chatter, it's all about chatter in a way, right? It's all about gathering this chatter, the information. And this is a card of outdated past, the past the person can't move on from. And I think I get this sense actually from looking at him, that he's a kind of like an old-fashioned person that hasn't been able to move on. It's like, we've talked about this before in the series of readings, the idea of these values that are really outdated and don't stand a chance. And it's an ending, okay? And this is the key. It's a sadness or apathy. And this is shown to be the key. So this is somewhat enigmatic to me still. I'm thinking in a way his job is probably has to do with deciding how to end conversation. But at the same time, I wonder if this is how they're going to get him, right? Some sort of old conversation. Okay, this is some sort of old conversation that they will find. This is a conversation, and it will hand him. Okay, because this is saying this is the key, and this will create disappointment too, because this is in a way a disappointment card. Okay, so again, it's not super clear to me what it is, and I'll show you underneath why it's so negative. Okay, because on the last row it's very negative. But like I said, I don't want anybody to get scared, because I feel like my real feeling about this is that it has been contained, okay? But that it's like one of those readings where I just have it's telling me, again, I don't know if this is true or what this will turn out to be, okay? But what I'm looking at here, it's very clear. It's a person who's totally on the other side. He's not, and it's, in a way, it confirms what I feel about him. There's other people who I'm shocked, but this is not particularly shocking. It's like he has this kind of like warmth about him, I guess, but that obscures a lot of things, and I'll show you why. I feel like this is the worst row, is the last row. So this is a person who has a hard time moving on. Okay, he needs to leave, but he's not leaving. Okay, things are, it's like plateau, beyond plateau. It's like it's over, you need to move on. And this is loyalty, right? The dog card. What do we have next to it? We have the classic. I feel like this is like could summarize the entire series. This is the quid pro quo card reversed, which means debt, and the foreign power. So this is almost like this is what the whole series of readings is all about. The debt to the foreign powers, the quid pro quos. Okay. And then the anchor card. It just is becoming a real superstar among the cards. And this is a card when it's upright, it's like things happening really fast, fast news, and this is delay. Okay. So what I'm getting here is that he is a very loyal person to the foreign power because of quid pro quo money. And his job, this is what I think find very interesting, is delaying. So in a way, the whole thing about, you know how he invited the guy with like the obvious conspiracy theories? The guy he invited to the CIA it's like always on Russian television. And he like said, I don't remember exactly, but it's just like a real like serious bullshit. But the guy that he invited to the CIA, you should look at it. I don't remember his name, but he looks so creepy. He just looks yellow. Like it's like, just like, just like he was living in like some, I don't know. It's just like, it's just so, these people are so creepy. Oh my God. Anyway, so this is a card of his job being delayed. So in a way, if you think about it, what do these conspiracy theories do? They delay truth, right? They kind of create confusion. So this is what he's doing. And I feel like this thing in the back might tell me that he kind of wanted to leave, but it was kind of, it just had the quid pro quo and the rush, right? This is so clear. I have no doubts about this. So he might have had a tiny bit of misgivings, but no, his job was the delay. And the anchor, again, I feel like the best word for anchor is the word that people used for Lady Gaga super fans, which was stan. So it's you're stan of something. So whenever I feel like this card shows up, it's like the stan card. So he's the stan for the foreign power. Okay, and his job underneath as a stan is delaying something. So that's what I feel. I feel like all these measures, the things he does are meant to delay something, right? To create a little bit of confusion. And I feel like here, because there's this anger, the way it's going to be cut is through, people are going to be, obviously, right? CIA director is a very big deal. So I don't know. I mean, it's like one of those readings, guys, that on the one hand, I have about the reading itself, I have a lot of clarity. And I'm not worried about him because I feel like this is almost in the past. The situation has been contained or will be contained very soon. But I feel like the damage he has, if this is what I'm seeing here as a messenger, like, because it's the problem, those things so funny. I used to watch a lot of these shows. Oh my God, I have to go. But these shows were called, what is it called? The FBI Files something. It's like all these crime shows. And it's all real stories. And the hard part is always finding the motive. And when you have the motive, it's like, oh, boom, there you go. Everything kind of comes together. And here I'm seeing the motive very clearly. It's money. Not money in the same way that the others needed. I feel like here he had some actual money problems that he had to deal with. But I feel this reading is super clear. That's what I feel. But then when I re-emerge and look at his position, I'm like, wow, really? That guy? It's like the idea that we could have a CIA director who's a messenger of some sort and has a friendly relationship with the CIA. I'm sorry, in the CIA, just like, look, imagine the CIA like getting offers from Russia and the Russia like being next. It's very disturbing. Okay. And of course people are very scared. Actual CIA people who are not traitors. Okay. They're restless and I don't want to say scared, they're restless and nervous. Okay. But yeah, I feel like it's, you know, the feeling I get about this is like the case against him is done. That's the feeling I get. Okay. So I'm not super worried. That's what I'm seeing. Again, it's one of those readings that I kind of want to warn people that even though the reading itself is super clear and I'm seeing it very clean, it seems so impossible that it's like I don't want to believe it. I'm like, come on, seriously? Nah, can't be that bad. So anyway, I just want to, again, like I said, you guys, this is done. It's in a way, quote unquote, entertainment purposes. It's just a way to put a story together. And it's a way for us to understand what's going on a little better. But I don't want you to get super, like, worked up about it or anything, okay? All right. Okay. All right. Thanks for everything, for the comments. And I'm going to get going. All right. Bye.